Set the scene for the gospel today, I think it's important to recognize and remember where John the Baptist basically set up shop. And he did that in the desert. He ate locusts and honey, he wore animal skins, he was this wild and crazy man out on the outskirts in the desert where it's hot and dusty and everything tears away at comfort. Not in the city, not in air conditioning, not showering regularly, none of those things, right? He's this wild man out in the desert, kind of preaching and so forth. And so he kind of becomes a rock star, though, at the same time, in the sense that everybody in town is talking about him. And a lot of people are going out to see him and to listen to his preaching. That's why even the scribes and Pharisees in other gospel passages have to go out and check him out. You can imagine some of the well taken care of religious leaders hearing all the people talking about this guy and them in the middle of their dinner kind of having to say, great, we have to go out and check this guy out. We have to go out and leave the comfort of our palace or our homes, leave our food behind. Someone get my umbrella. Someone get the camel ready. We have to go to the desert. Great. Right? There's bugs and sun and nastiness. Why do we have to go? So let's make this quick and get this over with. But they all came because everyone in town was talking about this John the Baptist guy in the desert preaching. So Jesus then, in today's gospel, asks and does a really extraordinary thing. He asks the crowd that he's talking to, he asks them 6 questions that are all exactly the same, but they're variations on the same question. So obviously as a teacher, you realize what he's doing there is he's driving home a point. He's not asking a question for a discussion starter. He says 6 different questions right in a row, all basically saying the same thing, to make a point to the people. So what does he say? He says, when you went out to John a few months ago, okay, when everybody was going out to visit this John the Baptist guy, why did you go? Was it to see a man, Jesus says? Was it to see a person dressed in nice clothing? No. Was it to hear some refined orator? Nope. Was it to hear that you should keep living the way that you are? Was it to hear a man tell you that you should continue living the way you are right now? Was it to see or experience some extraordinary experience of luxury and comfort? No. The answer to all of those questions, of course, is no, and Jesus knows that, but he says it 6 different times, 6 different ways to drive home the point. You did not go to John the Baptist to hear some or see something that was comfortable. You did not go out there to experience something that was good for you in that sense or relaxing in that sense. You went to hear a prophet. You went out into the desert, as hard as it is, as hot as it is, as uncomfortable as it is. You left your city, you left your home to go out to the desert to hear this man preach. You went to see a prophet. You went out because you knew you were going to encounter someone who was going to challenge you. You went out because you want someone, anyone, to tell you that you need to change. We all want that. We all need that. And we desire to hear someone call us to a higher standard. But we cling so often to our current way of doing things, our current way of living. And a part of us so badly wants other people to tell us that we're awesome and we're living rightly and that we don't need to do anything differently, that we're great and we're good enough, that I already do enough for the poor, that I'm a pretty decent person. There's a part of us that wants to hear that. And if we want to hear that, we know where to go to hear it. We get a lot of people telling us, every advertisement, a lot of the other things that are going on in the world are telling us, hey, you're awesome, just the way you are. Now go buy our product. But Jesus notes in this 6-question thing that he puts to his followers He says to the crowd, "You went out to John." And that's good, Jesus is saying. Recognize that. Pat yourself on the back. But ask yourself too, why did you go? Jesus is saying there's another side of us that doesn't want to be pampered. The part of us that knows we are made for more. That we are made for greatness, made for holiness. That we're made to be a saint. A part of us that knows the road to heaven is narrow. That it is hard and challenging, and that not everyone walks it. There's a part of us that knows that we can and wants to know that it is in fact begging to know that there are things at stake in this world. That today matters. That the good is still fighting against evil. That things are not just this bland and blasé technological coma of television, food, shopping, the internet, consumerism, and consumption, repeat, recycle. There's a part of us that wants to be told that this day, right now, matters, that our decisions matter, our choices matter, and that we can be a villain, but that we can also, with God's grace, choose to be a hero instead, to choose to be a saint, to choose to love the poor in radical ways, to choose to serve the poor not just with my leftovers, but with my first fruits. Choose to live out the virtue of chastity as the church calls young people and all people, and to not just live out the sexual ethics of our time. That I don't have to be proud, that I do not have to be slothful or arrogant or a drunkard or an addict or a braggart. And I'm not confined or predetermined to be a whiner, a complainer. That I don't have to be greedy, that I don't have to covet my neighbor's possessions. That poverty is good. That I can choose to stand up for the truth of things, that I can choose to walk away from comfort and instead learn about Christ and His teachings given to us through the church. That I can make the heroic decision to walk away from constant noise and instead face perhaps the fiercest battle, the battle with myself, when I choose to enter into silence. But here's the point of today's readings and Jesus' questions. He's not again calling us, in this particular passage, he's not again calling us and reminding us of all of that. He's saying, recall why you went to John. You went because you wanted to be called to more. And he's out there as a madman in the desert calling you to that. You knew what you were signing up for and you went anyway, and thanks be to God, that's awesome. But here's the point of Jesus' line of questioning. He's not telling us all of this again. Here's what he's saying. He's saying, you are called to be a John the Baptist too. You are called to learn from John. Why did people go to see him? What did he say? And then this is Jesus' follow-up. Now you say the same thing. You live the same way. He's holding up John. He's asking us to say, why did you go to him? And then he's saying, now why will people go to you? They will go to you if you live your life like he did, if you speak the same things that he did, and if you are that same light that John the Baptist was. St. James, in the letter today, in the second reading, says, take as an example of hardship and patience, brothers and sisters, the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. St. James, writing after Jesus, says, look to the prophets for an example of what you should be doing. But he's also saying, he says two beautiful things there, I think, which I love. He says, the hardship of the prophet's life, but also the patience. Take their hardship, their difficulties, the challenges, and their patience, and conform your life to that. Not just the hardship of the prophets. The prophets were not just people out ranting and raving. They were also patient people. They were kind people. They were given a message and asked to convey it, but they did it in patience. It's easy to yell and scream and be the madman running around town, telling everyone that they need to change their lives, it's infinitely harder to have the same message, but to convey it with patience and love. So we are called to live the hardship of John the Baptist, to preach the hard message that people know ultimately they want to hear, and to do it with patience. The life of prophet is hard work. It's tough work. It's uncomfortable work. Jesus is saying, do it anyway. Don't run from it. Run towards it. Embrace it. And embrace the cross. Take as an example of hardship and patience, brothers and sisters, the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. People, your friends, your family, your neighbors, all of us want to be called to the heroic, to the holy. Will you be that patient but clear voice, or will you and I retreat to the safe and comfortable?